Hello and welcome to the Sunbirdcrochet Podcast. My name is Claudia and I'm coming to you from Germany. Today is Saturday, the 2nd of September, and I had a very exciting morning, I can tell you. First of all, I am now in charge again of Holly the cat, and I will be for the next 10 days. So yeah, that's that. And then we had some little deer in the garden. We call them Reh. R-E-H is one, and R-E-H-E is more than one. So it was a female with two teenagers, I would say. You could still see a little bit of their white dots on the back, and so adorable. But it's been dramatic. You see, our garden has a fence around, and the neighbors, most of them have fences as well. So I don't know how they got into our garden, but we were kind of stuck. They couldn't find the exit anymore. I assume that previously they had just jumped over the fence, but now the mother got confused, and I didn't want to disturb her too much, so I didn't go outside. We were quite anxious that they wouldn't find the way back into the forest. I mean, the forest, it's not like we're at the edge of a forest. We are at the edge of a path which leads to the forest. But yeah, I'm happy to say that they are now no longer in our garden, and I just believe that they are back in the forest where they belong. And this is not the first time they've been in the garden, so I think they do know their way. Also, we had some, how do you call these birds? Editing me here. It's called a jay, and I've seen 3 of those, and they are standing for power, for generosity, for sharing, and for joy of living. So I've seen 3 of those, and I'm taking it as a good sign. Eichelherr in German, and I saw 3 of them frantically collecting nuts, and they also were in the oak trees, and when they found something, I could see it shining in their beak, between their beaks, and they flew away, not always in the same direction. So I don't know where they put their their treasure. Some went there, then the next time they went there, and the next time in the other direction, so they must be hiding it everywhere. And no doubt next spring we will have oak trees growing everywhere as well. Anyhow, all of that just means that autumn has arrived. For sure, the temperature has gone down, and also I heard some, I don't know if it was the cranes or if it was geese flying over the house, heading south. So yeah, it's that time of year, and to be honest, I couldn't be happier. So let me insert a little bit of footage of the deer. hope you enjoyed that. And I have 2 more videos which I'm going to show you during this whole episode, but more about that later. Let's go on with some crochet content. Yeah, the elephant in the room. What am I wearing? I am wearing my Mosaic Cardi, and I actually can use it. I have a bit of a shoulder ache today, so the extra warmth is doing me all kinds of good. Yeah, I finished my crochet cardigan. I just have one last end to weave in. So it might not count, but yeah. As you can see, I've made the sleeves a slightly shorter, but I did that intentionally because this will stretch and it will grow, and I don't want to have this constantly in my food or in whatever I'm doing. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with it. What can I tell you about it? Let me first stand up and show you a closer look. Ta-ta! Can you actually see it from that far? I hope you can. Yeah. Well, you can see that I used quite heavy yarn. I would say this is Aran weight yarn. It's Julia from Seemann. And I used a 4mm hook size, which is not the recommended size, but it's appropriate for the yarn. So I made a smaller garment size to make it still fit me and not be a huge load or a huge potato bag kind of thing. And I also had to adjust the sleeves a little bit. You see, this is normally the shoulder and it should only go to there. But since I had a bigger gauge, the sleeves went there. So I seamed quite a lot here under the arms. But no one will ever know unless I tell them. That's the seam. Yeah, so when I added the sleeves, and I also made this cardi longer than the pattern says, because the pattern, it's a cropped cardigan. This is not a look I usually go for, so I'm just confident enough to do my own thing. But I just loved the mosaic technique, and this is an exclusive pattern which you can get on plyful.com, and it's run by the designer Sandra Gutierrez, and it's her new baby project. And we just went into the second month of Plyful being up and running, and yeah, I made a list because I want to tell you about this month's special pattern on Plyful. So this is my one and only finished object. I have been more or less exclusively working on this cardigan. Who am I even? I did pick up my Lazy Days wrap yesterday, but my shoulder was aching from finishing this in time so that I can start a new project in September. And I realized that I do have quite a lot of choice, but there's a lot of CALs with a K, with a C, there are lots of MALs this month starting and next month, and it's just, we're spoiled for choice. So I made a list, and I'm going to tell you everything about it. Everything I could find. I'm sure there are more. So let's start with plans next. My plan is to make a Rudens sweater. That's a pattern exclusive on Plyful, and this is not by Sandra this time, it's by Linda Skuja. Linda is a very well-known pattern designer. She had one of her patterns was in the first Moorit magazine issue, and it was, I think, the looker in it, and she's done it again. It's such a beauty. This new pattern on Playful. It's called Rudens sweater. I'm going to put up a photo here. I hope I don't get into trouble because of showing you. Yeah, so you can see that it has crochet cables, and it's a bit partly mesh, partly, yeah, it's just, it looks very modern. I just hope I will be able to match her gauge, because I haven't been able to match her gauge in the past. Gauge is one of my biggest enemies. Yeah, but that's my plan, that's my wish. It looks beautiful. I also love the color she chose. It's a dark green and it feels very autumn-like. I do have two colors from this kind of yarn. One is this brownish, which I might use. Also, I've got a dark green still somewhere in my stash, which I bought for a blanket and then I didn't do it. Maybe I'm using that. And I've also got more of this light pinky, not the beige, the pink. No, not this one. This one down here. This pink. I've got more of this. Haven't made up my mind yet. Or I will just use Holst Garden held double. I will have to rummage around in my stash for a bit. I don't really want to buy new yarn because I really want to make a dent in my stash. Yeah, so that's my plan. Shall we talk about this and that and news and everything? No, I tell you, before I move on to that, let me show you one of the other two videos which I still have got up my sleeve for you. This is out of my life, nothing to do with crochet or anything. At the end of August every year we have a fun fair in town, and I just made a little video of that so that you can see, well, how a small fun fair in Germany looks like. And our fun fair always comes with market days, so a couple of streets get blocked and then there are stalls and you can buy your knives and towels and sewing material and these kind of things. So household materials, you can buy them at the stalls. That's traditional. But recently there are also some leather bags and food and these veggie grating doodas and you know, all these things. Yeah, but let me just show you a little impression video. Hope you enjoy. to crochet. All the news and the gossip. Everything which I've written down here. So, I already talked about Linda Skuja's Rudens sweater, and in other news, she is publishing a book. It's either already out there or it's going to be very soon. It's called Crochet Sweaters with a textured. Let's try that again. Crochet Sweaters with a textured twist. It's 15 timeless designs, and you can get it on Amazon and on a website, I believe. And that's something which I consider purchasing at a later time. I first want to see if I can match her gauge, finally. That's that. Then I've been watching the podcast Fleece and Harmony. They are based on Prince Edward Island in Canada, the east of Canada. And they are currently running a Mary Wallin make-along. Mary Wallin is the designer from the UK, I believe, and she has both crochet designs and knit designs. And this make-along, you can make anything designed by Mary Wallin, and you can do a crochet project or a knitting project. It started on the 21st, and it's still running until February 29th, 2024. So this might be something if you're into colorful color work projects. That's the word I was looking for. So Mary Wallin, very well known pattern designer in both crochet and knitting. Have a look at her designs. They are awesome. They are beautiful. They are a challenge, but yes, that's something I consider doing. But we still have time until the end of February next year, so where's the rush? That's that. Then I watched the Grocery Girls podcast, and they have started something new. Now, don't get too excited, it's already booked out, but they are actually now running, like Anna and Carlos, knitting cruises. Their first knitting cruise is going to start, I believe, in May next year. They're starting from Seattle and they're going up the Pacific coast of Canada, and it's just being on a boat, watching the lovely scenery and knitting in the best company. And courses. Jorge Locatelli will be there teaching the Grocery Girls. They will give a sock knitting course, I believe, and there are others who will be giving courses. So this is something, if you are a knitter, this would be heaven, I suppose. Yeah, but as I said, it's booked out already, but there's a waiting list, and they said that they're going to continue to do this until no one wants to go on a cruise with them anymore. So it's just a little bit of news, which I thought you might be interested in. Then what else? Well, this is another, not crochet, but knitting thing. It's the new Stephen West MKAL 2023. It's called Geogradient. And you need 4 skeins of 4-ply fingering yarn for it. That's 4 times 100 gram. It starts next month in October, but today at 4 p.m. Amsterdam time, which is also the same time in Germany, so it's 3 p.m. in the UK, and I don't know which time it is in the US and in Australia and anywhere else in the world. Anyway, if you know 4 p.m. Amsterdam time, you know that's when the yarn kits will be launched at Stephen and Penelope. And usually they are really pricey, but you do get a canvas bag and some other goodies, some labels to sew in and such things. I haven't made up my mind yet if I will join them just yet. But what I will do is to once again go into my stash and look for a gradient of 4 solid colors, and yeah, although I am tempted, there are lots of beautiful kits, and lots of indie dyers are making up kits on their own as well for this MKAL. And he mentioned in his latest video about this MKAL that there is a mystery kit, and it's wool from Punk Rock Unicorn yarn. She is based in Germany. Dia is a wonderful indie dyer, and I'm very tempted because that's a purple gradient kit, the mystery kit. If I would buy a kit, I would probably go for that one. Or I would wait until tomorrow, because Dia, who's Punk Rock Unicorn, she is going to launch her own kit tomorrow on her website, Punk Rock Unicorn. Anyhow, so that's that, and I'm excited to be a member, still a member of the MKAL group run by Wallin, who is made by Wallin. It's a group on WhatsApp, and last year it was so much fun. We put together a video, which, well, we sent her video snippets of us wearing our shawls, and I'm still waiting for that video to be published, Wallin. I hope she will do so soon. It was lots of fun and with tongue-in-cheek. And anyway, she's running this group again this year, and there are lots of people joining still, and we're going to have a blast. It's not only just a chitter-chatter group, but also for me as beginner in knitting, it was invaluable to have these pros in the group. They actually created spreadsheets with stitch counts and all these little tips, and when you struggle with certain stitch, then they tell you how to do this, or you know, they help you along. It's really a support group by friends you never knew you had. So that's the MKAL by Stephen West, and the support and fun group by Wallin. Then, oh yes, I've been watching Ruth's podcast, and I'm talking about Ruth, who's counting sheep. She's living in Vermont, and she's having her own little flock of sheep, and I really, really enjoy her podcast. She has a very calming effect on me for some reason. I feel very connected to her, and yeah, I do recommend this podcast, and help her grow her podcast, please. She makes beautiful things, and I just want to especially mention her latest project, which is the Airy Fairy Cardigan, a pattern by Lilla Bjorn, and she's showing her project, her Airy Fairy Cardigan, in episode 8 of the Counting Sheep podcast on YouTube. So that's something else I wanted to mention. Then we've got Makita, who's Naughty Crush on YouTube. She is running another MAL. It's the Vestember MAL. You are making a vest, and yeah, it's still running until the 30th of September, so until the end of a month. That's almost 4 weeks left. Of course, you can just make a crochet vest. I mean, you don't even have to crochet the sleeves, just a vest. That's totally doable. So maybe go and have a look I will link her video down below, and it's the hashtag Vestember MAL 2023. So that's running until the end of the month. And no, we're not done yet. There's another MAL. Jackie, who is Crochet HD. Let me put up her YouTube name up here. She is running the I Love the 80s MAL, and I do love the 80s as well. I haven't started my project yet. I don't know if I will be able to start and finish it in time. This my make-along runs until mid-September, so until the 15th of September. That's still almost 2 weeks time. If you are a quick crocheter, then that might be something for you. And you don't have to make a garment. I mean, this is just take your favorite 80s TV or movie, Back to the Future or Indiana Jones. What's still out there? Oh, I loved Quantum Leap. I would love to make a project with that, but what would you do? I do have to rewatch that series. You know, there are so many inspirations. I do love the 80s as well. So that MAL is running until 15th of September. Or maybe if we all beg Jackie to extend it again, then maybe she lets it run until the end of September. Whereas she's going to run a new make-along in October. I don't know what that theme will be yet. Oh, before I forget, I haven't written this down here yet, but there has been, when was it? End of June? End of July? It's a while ago, but there was a live with for the summer from MKAL. Oh, must have been August. Anyway, Elizabeth, who's Crochet Cakes, and Claudia, who's Crochet Luna, they were running as every year. Thank you for that. The summer from MKAL. And during that live video, which I hope I won't forget to link down below, they were talking or asking for a theme for the next summer from MKAL 2024. So I believe together we came up with Enemy to Lovers, I think it was. Yeah. I just had to think a little bit because I had another idea, which was Deadly Romance. Ooh. No, I'm pretty sure next year we said it will be Enemies to Lovers. And what came to my mind was Much Ado About Nothing by none other than Shakespeare. And if you haven't read it, I haven't read it, but I've watched the movie with Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson. Brilliant. I think that's my favorite couple. Back then they were still together in real life, but it's just so funny. You have to watch the movie. They both hate each other. They really hate each other. But then the people around them are plotting against them. They are telling Benedict that Beatrice, played by Emma Thompson, is really in love with him, and she just doesn't know how to tell him. And they tell Beatrice that Benedict, who's played by Kenneth Branagh, he's so heartbroken. He's so in love with her, and he just doesn't know how to express it, etc., etc. So the two people who hate each other's guts suddenly believe the other one is just so awkward and nasty because they are fighting against their love. So it's just funny. And just think how old this story already is, and it's still up to date. It's really brilliant. There is actually a theater version, and it's on Digital Theater. That's an online theater website. And there, Benedict is played by David Tennant, and Beatrice is played by Catherine Tate, and they're so funny. They are really, I mean, expressions, and you just have to watch it. I don't know, maybe I can find a trailer for you, but if I would have to pick my enemies to lovers couple right now, it would be Benedict and Beatrice from Shakespeare's drama Much Ado About Nothing. Brilliant. Yeah, talking about Kenneth Branagh, and let me just put this in quickly. This month there will be the release of his new movie, another Agatha Christie Poirot movie, and it plays in Venice, and it's with Ouija boards and ghosts and murder, and I can't wait to watch this. Back to crochet. Another crochet along. It hasn't started yet, but it's run by Moorit. Moorit Magazine. The launch of Moorit Magazine. The launch of Moorit Magazine. The launch of issue 5 of Moorit Magazine is just around the corner. And as soon as it's out there, this crochet along and will start, and it will run until the end of the year, and you are asked to crochet any pattern from issue 1 to up to issue 5 of Moorit Magazine. And this is run by Alison and Vivian, the daughter-mother team of Keep Calm and Carry On podcast. I'm going to link the video down below. So that's exciting. Moorit Magazine is always exciting. Yes, it is. Maybe you even make one of my patterns. They are in issue 2. Yeah, if you want a quick project, then maybe you take the Clag and Cowl. Just a hint. Now, that's almost it. That actually is it concerning make-alongs, crochet-alongs, knit-alongs, all these alongs. And what I would like to now talk about is incoming. Let's do incoming. I haven't bought any yarn. No, I haven't. I've just bought some fabric because I am planning to make, with the help of my family member number 1, a project bag for Halloween time, for October. So this is fabric which I've chosen for the lining. It's called Forest Floor, and it's from the edition Into the Woods by Sarah Watson. 100% certified organic cotton. It's from 2021, cloud9fabrics.com. There you go. Very detailed. It's basically mushrooms, 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 mushrooms. So this will be the inside, the lining of a project bag. And now, hold your horses. The outside of this project bag is gorgeous. It's called Key Ingredients by the De Leon Design Group, the Alexander Henry Fabrics collection from 2022, so it's not new, but it's gorgeous. Let me show it to you. And if you see the theme and the style, you know why I've chosen it. It's Edwardian ladies, vintage witches. It's absolutely stunning. My favorite woman, probably that witch, serving a spine and a skull. Also, I really love this gypsum girl woman in a nice dress. Or this governess serving a skull with some oranges, maybe. So this will be my project bag this autumn, eventually. So now, as you can see, I'm all in an autumn fall mood. So let's talk about podcasts which really make me feel cozy when I watch them, and they are not crochet or yarn related, actually. I just wanted to give you, as a change, some podcasts which I'm watching just for fun and as an aside, which you might enjoy as well. So let's start with Escape to Rural France. This is Dan. He's from the UK originally, but he moved to France to be the gardener of the Chateau de Lalande team. They do have their own famous channel called the Chateau Diaries, and they were even on British TV. But Dan was their gardener, and he decided to buy a castle too. This castle was built in the early 20th century, so 1910 to 20, something like that. I think 1910, around that time. By a rich merchant. He got married to a dancer he met in Paris, and they moved there. It's quite the countryside, and there are still tiles in this castle, or chateau as the French say. Dan is rescued, most of them, and the problem with the chateau is that it actually burned down in the late 80s. So what he has is a shell of a castle, and he's doing everything. There are trees growing in everywhere, and there was a toilet hanging in midair, and this is a burned out castle with a history. It sometime in between, I think it belonged to Coco Chanel, but yeah, so he's telling you all about that chateau, and he's renovating it little by little, step by step, and he's now living on site in a yurt, and I'm watching it in fascination and at the same time in horror, because I'm always expecting some part of a ruined wall toppling over and burying him underneath, and he's on the scaffolding, and it's really like, Dan, how can you expect to do this all on your own? I mean, he does have some helpers, but mainly with things like cutting down trees, trimming trees, spreading gravel along the path, that kind of thing, the big things, the heavy stuff. But all the building inside, the walls, the bricklaying, I mean, he's working on it not even for a year. You can see already lots of difference to what it was before, but this will be a project for many years to come. So if you are into that, go and watch Escape to Rural France. Then I recently started watching The Miniature World of Kit and Caboodlers. They are a mother-daughter team, and they are rescuing old doll houses. You know my passion for doll houses. So they are collecting old doll houses, renovating them, filling them with, they buy old sets of, I suppose on eBay or somewhere else, used old vintage things, and they even create their own, and they fill the houses. And at one stage they found a dollhouse in a dumping pit, and like a container. They redid it, they painted it, they furnished it, and they put it on the sidewalk and they put a sign on it for takes for free. And they said in the podcast episode that half an hour later, a mother and a daughter rang their doorbell and asked if I could take it, and it now has found a new home. And I'm fascinated by what they're unpacking, and I get ideas for my own dollhouse shenanigans. And there are developments about that as well, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. Don't fear. So I'm watching the miniature world of Kit and Caboodlers. I'm going to link their channel down below. They also have a mudlarking channel called Mudlarking with Kit and Caboodlers. Mudlarking, if you don't know, is when you go to areas of like a beach or a riverbed side or an old dumping place, and you find things in the mud, in the earth, in the sand, and the things they find. I mean, I do love to walk along the water's edge when I'm at a beach, and I love to see what I find. I usually find shells and maybe some plastic wraps which was coming from somewhere else from the earth, from I don't know, from UK or from Denmark, or when I'm walking along the beach in Germany. So yeah, that kind of thing. But what they find is quite extraordinary. Lots of glass stoppers from old bottles and metal signs and coins and marbles and lots of tin soldiers, tin things, and also porcelain dolls. They call them frozen, what's it called? Not Jenny's, frozen. Most of them are missing a limb or two, or even the head. And keys, and also things which are really, really old. And I find this fascinating. If I would have the sea next to me and I would be able to find things like that there as well, like old buttons and things, I would certainly go there and have a look. But I can't think of any place near my place where I'm living. So I just get the second-hand experience with that channel, Mudlarking with Kit and Caboodlers. I really like their voices as well. They're quite eccentric, I suppose, but also very heartwarming to see them enjoying this together as a mother and daughter team. Yeah, then let's move on to another podcast which I'm watching. That's Dawn's Days. Dawn has also 2 channels. Dawn's Days is like a wrap up of what's happening in her week, and Dawn is originally comes from Manchester in the UK, but she's living with her South African husband Lawrence and her 2 boys in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and she's sharing what's happening in her life. And I find this quite like sitting down with a friend, having a cup of coffee and a little chin wag. She also has, as I said, another channel on YouTube, and that's the Woven Almanac, and in there she actually also talks about crochet and knitting, so there is something yarn related. Yes. So I'm enjoying that lots and lots. She has a little dog and a little red cat, and when she walks the dog, the cat's actually following them, so they are walking the dog as a team. Now, I've mentioned Kate before. She has the Last Homely House channel, and she now has, for quite a while now, the Last Homely Garden. So she split up her content into house and garden, like crafting and gardening. That's always so fun to watch. And I'm also watching Kirsten and Jörg, 2 Germans in Britain. I'm watching this because I got I got a recommendation from Ellie, who is starry as Ellie, Little Drops of Wonderful Ellie. She's watching them as well, and I do enjoy Kirsten and Jörg. They are always very entertaining me because their channel is not in German. They are talking English very well, by the way, and they are visiting lots of British heritage places like castles, manor houses, and all these National Trust and English heritage places on their weekend trips, and they take you along and they show you a place, and it's beautiful. They also show you the B&Bs which they choose, and they are usually along the theme of well, don't expect modern things, expect B&B places on the place of a National Trust heritage site, or a B&B which is which looks like taken out of a Jane Austen novel, these kind of things. They even once stayed in a B&B which was used in the scene of the 1995 version of BBC's Pride and Prejudice, where Mr. Darcy proposes to Elizabeth first time and gets rejected. Yeah, so I'm enjoying that very much. And they also very often go to antique markets and stores, these huge stores with antiques, and they show you. Kirsten has a passion for porcelain, for cups and plates, and yeah, and they also love old furniture and these things. And they go on travel now and then back to Europe, mainland Europe, to visit their parents or her parents in Saarland, and I really enjoy their podcast. They do it very well, and it's fun. And yeah, last but not least on my list is this. She is famous. Her name is Rachel Maxey, and she is a very inventive, creative person. She's a young woman living in the USA, and she's doing crazy projects every week, and she's showing you, she's making costumes, she's going to these Comic Cons things. She made a whole dragon out of materials, and one of her arms was like a dragon puppet thingy, and she made her own. She turned boots into frog feet, and she is dressing up in Victorian style clothes, or in romantic Jane Austen style empire waist dresses, which she makes herself. She loves costumes, she loves making costumes, she loves thrifting, she loves redoing. I mean, she turned her own bedroom into a Victorian dark green mysterious forest type of scenario. I love watching her projects, and she's doing it in a very fun way. Also a bit like a comic with sound effects, so if that's not your thing, you might not enjoy her channel, but I certainly do. I know that Clarissa, who's Crochet Cakes, she's watching her as well, I believe. Her latest episode, Rachel Maxey, her latest episode is turning thrift store items into Halloween decor. Hello! Just up my road. Yeah, so these are all my recommendations, my news, my gossip, my everything for today. The last thing I want to show you is fireworks. Yes, I already showed you the fun fair, and at the end, every year at the end of the fun fair, all the stall owners and the roller coaster owners, machinery owners, they are hosting or paying for a huge firework display to mark the end of his fun fair. And I can actually see it from my place. So instead of standing in the crowd, getting some neck aches, getting an aching neck by looking up at the sky. I was watching it from my own place and I recorded it. I put some music over it. There you go. Fireworks. I hope you'll enjoy. Have fun crafting. Do let me know which channels you're watching and what are your projects going to be for this autumn/fall. See you next time. Bye.
Das ist schön.